Hey guys, welcome. Hey, I just read it's hot in Florida at the Villages. Hey, it's hot here in my studio too. I don't have the air conditioning on, and so we're gonna go right to the beer. And so we're gonna find out what our beer is. And so if you haven't been here before, my name's David R. Becker, and the reason this is wrong side. The reason this is here is because tomorrow I'm doing a competition. And so I want you to go there at art64tosa.com and vote for my painting. And so that's going to be up there. And this is the beer we have today is actually from Wisconsin, I think. I mean, it's from the Badger State, and it's called Jet Ski. And so, see, Jet Ski with American Spearland. So it's from the Badger State. It's probably from, let's see, it's from Green Bay. And so we're going to try it. And since tomorrow I'm going to be up at Wauwatosa doing a competition, which has nothing to do with how good you are. It's actually just how many people can get vote for you. So here we're going to pour this beautiful Jet Ski beer. And it's supposed to be a Pilsner with lemon, which I can't. I love Pilsners and I love lemon. So this should be pretty good. And look at that, a nice pour this time. So Jet Ski from Green Bay. What happened to my? Look at that! It's like all blue. My camera. My camera's. I think I'm gonna have to get a new camera. Cheers, everybody! Cheers. Not bad. It's not the best I've ever had Pilsner lemon. I'm gonna give this 8.5 paintbrushes. All right. So good, but not the best I've ever had. Not bad. So cheers, everybody. And since it's so hot in my studio, and it's been hot here, so it tastes really refreshing. Hey, Dave. Hey, Pat. And I can't imagine if it's this hot here, how hot it is in the Villages in Florida. And so, look at my camera's back to normal. I wonder what's going on here. Anyways, let's go right to our website. My website. It's Becker Art or davidrbecker.com. And one thing you do when I don't have the art toast or the art64tosa.com on here, but I think I'll have to put it on here afterwards just to get everybody to. They don't have anything on their website yet for voting. It's all going to be tomorrow, and tomorrow at 7 p.m. But anyways, you can get all the information here on my workshops and my demos and everything like that. But not my Art Tosa. So I got to get that on there. Art64Tosa. And so let me get that on there a little bit later. Okay, supplies. Supplies are, like always, my whole bind. And actually, I got a surprise for you guys today. So stick around. Don't go away. I got a surprise. Some new supplies. And so brushes, my paint, my Stonehenge paper I'll be using. And so let's just go right to our value study because this is kind of complicated. And so as I was doing this and turning it black and white, I realized, boy, this lights are all over the place. And when I squint my eyes, they're still all over the place. So I'm going to try to keep the part. Let me just show you the parts, because when you have lights like this bouncing all over the place, like we got over here, 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 and it's not kind of connected. It's not really connected as well as it should be. So what I want to do is I want to make... I'll show you what I had done in class, and it's kind of this light like you see down here, and it was like too much light, and it just was not a great value pattern because the middle tones were as light as the light tones, and it really wasn't a great pattern that I had put together here. And so I brought it in here, and so that now that this is a little bit darker, so you're getting a little bit better when it comes, because if you're looking at this, a lot of these middle tones are very much light, right? And so I'm not separating the lights and darks enough to make it a really nice kind of looking value pattern. And you know how important it is to me. It's so important that it gets the lighting effect on there. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make everything a lot darker this time. And I'll show you what I had done this afternoon. And the thing I did this afternoon is kind of bland. And, I don't like bland. Just like that beer is kind of bland this time. So that's going to only give it an 8.5, which for 8.5 is still good, but it's not the best. It's not 11 paintbrushes. All right, so let's go right to show you what I did this afternoon. So here's what we did in class, and you see how it's there, it's a truck, and it's just not exciting. I like my things to be exciting, and I didn't spatter enough, I think, at the end. And so you know, the darkness I didn't get in the house here as much, and I didn't get that crispness, not Christmas, crispness of the value pattern. And here the darks are not dark enough. They didn't. I like them to pop, and that means I didn't use like really dark darks, and I didn't put it on thick enough, and you know, so it's okay, and it looks kind of overcast, and even though it's sunlight on this truck, and so, and because the back here is darker than the door and stuff, and that's another reason it's all these different values. And I take into consideration first and foremost the value pattern. It really is that important. All right, so let's get started. Any questions, just let me know. Hey Sue, Tina, Cheryl, interesting subject, which will be fun to watch you do. Yeah, I like doing trucks. I mean, I did one in, when I was in the Pace 24. There was actually a truck out there, and actually I just hadn't done one on a Saturday and a Sunday, right? I just went with a lady, and so I had kind of done a truck, and so I wanted you guys to do one too. So here we go. And so let's get started. And this is another thing, because I really almost let me put the value study here, because I really want you to understand this, and that's so important to keep things. Hold on one second. Let me get this value pattern in here. So this value pattern, I made it a little bit darker, so you can actually see. I want you to see that, and I really have to guide myself through this so that the parts are a little bit darker where I want them, and not like I had done this afternoon. This afternoon, I mean, everything is like closely related, very close, and it works, but I like contrast, you know, and that's me. If you like this and it's fine for you, then that's fine. I just want to kind of give it a little bit more contrast this time. And here's the new thing. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I can't believe how excited I am about this. So Holbein, I've been asking them for like ever since I heard that Daniel Smith has got out granulated pigment. You know, they got that granulated pigment that's like more pigmented pigment, so it granulates better. Well, Holbein just told me, and they just sent me a 24 pack of their new pigmented paints. And so if you see on my palette here, I just put some of them out. I put like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them out, and they have 24 pigmented. And I always said, you know, I know Daniel Smith has these, and they're a little bit more pigmented, and they granulate better. Well, but the only thing that Daniel Smith doesn't have is light colors. And so I said, boy, I wish you'd make some light colors too if you do make the pigmented stuff. And they did. And there's all these reds and yellows and pinks and, you know, light blues and light greens. I put out mimosa, and so they're a little bit lighter than, you know, which is good. And I'm going to see how they work. And so while I'm doing this painting, I'm just going to dip into some of them. But the new pigmented, more pigmented granulation pigments. So they granulate. It's probably bigger pigment, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing, but I like the look of the pigmented Daniel Smith stuff. But now I'm so happy that that Holbein now makes some. So 24 of them. Look those up, and I'm not sure if they're on the market yet, or if they're wanting me to test these first. But we're gonna test them tonight. All right, let's go. And oh, I was gonna say with the lights, there's not much light here that is colored. A lot of the light is the color of the paper, right? So I'm just going to go right into my large middle tones. My large middle tones will be my large middle tones and large darks, because the lights are just few and they're going to be white, and so I don't have to do anything. It's already there. Like the top of the truck and the top of the hood, the top of the fenders, the top of this is all white, and that's part of my light scheme. The only thing that has some color in it is the grasses down here, and I can do that while I do the big middle tones and darks. All right, and so we're just going to go right into the middle tone darks, because my lights are already there, and it's something I did when I was in class, and then I kind of covered up too much of my white, so this time I'm going to just go right into my middle tones, my big middle tones. Let's do some of this granular blue. I'm just going to put that in the roof and just see how that granulates. It's going to be interesting to see how much granules, if it'll look granulated. It does look a little, yeah, it does. There's a little bit of granules in there. Very cool. So that'll be part of the, I'll put that in the windows here, put a little bit of that. And this is, I forgot what this color was called. They have really strange names. They're not like the names of, like, you know, that they normal have. So I'll have to open the box again later and tell you the names of them. So I'm just putting in my light, my blues, and that are in parts of the fender and some of the glass in here. Just putting that right in there. It does look a little bit more granular. This is kind of I'm just using one color, but look at it, it has, this light blue has some purple in it and blue. I'm just using the one color too. Look at that, isn't that cool? It has, sometimes they do that with granular colors. They put two different colors in there. This has a little bit of purple and blue in it. That's very cool. Also, I took out purple because purple, oh, I love purple, and they have these are two are purple, so I'm wondering how they granulate. Do I need them now? Let's put them in there. What the heck? And this is going to make it a lot darker this time, and I wonder how they are together with. There's this green right here. Using a lot of water, so they don't seem as pigmented as the gouache. The gouache is so finely ground, but then again, this it seems like these have two colors in one thing. It's very cool. So that's a light color, and I wet it with a light color, but I do want to make it darker than that. Let's get some Prussian. Maybe make it some green. My color combination yet, I'm not sure. It's going to be, I want to make it this time more orange and blue. That last time it was red and green. Look at my camera, my front camera. I'm going to have to get a new camera. It keeps on switching from blues to, so unfortunately I'm going to have to get another camera. All right, what is this? This is a granular color. Some orange into this. Right into this building. I'm going to keep the top of the truck light. Why? Because that's the light part, right? That's the white part. That's already been done. I don't have to do anything there. I'm kind of testing out a new pigment, so when I do that, I like to see how it floats. So I put a lot of water down and I'm floating it into the pigment here. Get some of this purple in there. Doesn't seem very thick, the paint. I'm getting so used to gouache that when you pick up a little bit of paint, it's so concentrated. I was just showing my class that how concentrated gouache is compared to watercolor, transparent watercolor. I mean, transparent has to be transparent, so you see through, but gouache is made so it's so finely ground that you don't see through it. And but so a little bit goes such a long way with gouache compared to watercolor, transparent watercolor. I'm just going to put this on here and just make it dark. I know it's weird that I didn't start with my lights, but I did. They're already there, and so I'm just kind of going in here with a little bit darker colors. I'm trying these new colors to see how I mix them together. And this will be a soft edge back here, and they do definitely seem more granulated. I can see a little bit more of the granules, and it kind of separates some of the granules. Thanks, David, for California. I have some pictures of old trucks similar to this, maybe even older, and wish I could share the pictures of it here. Unfortunately, yeah, it would be neat. And actually, I saw your name here, and I've just been looking at some of the things on my YouTube channel. I noticed that sometimes some of you, and I think Sanctity, I think you had donated or given some money, and I have never noticed that. They don't ever email me when I get a present from you guys, and I think you had given quite a bit. So thank you so much for that. I just noticed that now because I went into my thing looking to see how many viewers I had, how I can get people to vote for me, and I was just looking up some of the stuff, and I noticed that some of you have given me like donations, and so I'm like, wow, I never thanked you, so thank you. Yeah, I wish YouTube would tell me that these things happen. And so that's bleeding into there, but that's okay because I'm going to make this rooftop. I can just go back in here and kind of push that back again. And my my videos are free, and so I normally don't expect, you don't have to pay, but if you do donate, thank you so much. I mean, it's just going to help me keep my newsletter going, because I do pay for my newsletter and I do have to pay for certain things in here. But thanks so much. It's really nice of you. Let's see, we're going to go in here now and get, so I'm just kind of going down in this direction and just laying my darks a little bit darker than I had done this afternoon, because again, I want it to be a little bit darker, the background, and really punch out the car and let my pattern be a little bit more focused and on the dark areas. Now the whole front of the car, I'm going to start with mediums. I'm just going to go from this way to that way, from the front to the back, and I'm just going to kind of wet it as I go along and try to get the values that I want to catch here. Definitely they're granular. I'm going to have to try them again on a different thing too, like all by themselves without things. I just got to see. It's hard to do it while you're painting in a painting, and sometimes it's good to test things not in a painting, but just as a working it into paper and different kinds of paper and seeing how it just lays there. Put a blue in front here. I can see it definitely is pigmented, a little bit more pigmented. It's oh, I went right over the top of the fender. Oh boy, didn't even think about that. So nice thing is I can just wipe it out on this paper. I gotta keep that light, and let's go for this some orange here. And now I'm gonna wet this so that's a soft edge. Remember, I say wet it a little bit farther beyond that, or see, otherwise it goes higher up. I'm just gonna wet that edge. Yeah, I normally don't do the middle tone right away, like normally don't do this, but the lights are pretty much done for me, so I'm just going to go in there and just going to try to get the middle tone, mediums, and the darks all at once. A little stripe going down the middle here. There's grasses that are a little bit lighter, but I'm just going to make this dark at first because, again, there's just a little bit of light down here. This whole front end should be dark. So let's go a little bit of this purple in here. Also, when you're working a new color, you never want to start in a painting. You want to see what the color does with other colors. You shouldn't be doing it while you're doing a painting. You know, it's best to try it on just like a scrap of sheet of paper, try different mixed things and see how they work, how they react to the water, how they mix with other colors. Because when you're doing that, when you're doing a painting, you're not thinking about those things. You're thinking about how can I get a soft edge here and there, and so. But I was so excited about getting these, and so I just want to try them. So we're doing it anyways. Let's get in here, get some nice reds. And I'm hopping back and forth, and I don't like to do that either, but unfortunately that's the way it's going here. This is wet, so that'd be a nice soft edge. Take this around. I like to bring my washes all together and let them all fall together as one. Following the value pattern. Remember, follow the value pattern. The paintings that I will be doing at the Art 64 are all paintings that I took the picture of this weekend in Wauwatosa, and I'm really working my value pattern because I only have 1 hour to do those paintings, and they're 16 by 20, which is, you know, double the size I'm working on right now. So I really have to get things correct and get them right the first time. And also, you're allowed to trace them, like you can use copy paper and you're allowed to trace them on there, because I'm doing a kind of a complicated scene, and I could draw it, but not in that time of an hour, and paint it in an hour. So luckily, you're allowed to also trace your photo, or your, you know, I'm going to take a drawing, I'm going to trace my drawing, because I really couldn't do that size 16 by 20 in 1 hour and get it to what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of, kind of a complicated scene. It didn't have to be complicated, but because it's really, you know, it's people just voting, and it's not really, there's no judges who are artists, and so it's whatever the general public will like. And so it's pretty much, I've been told that by some people who've taken it or have done it already. They say it's more of a popularity thing, and how many people have social media, and so we'll see. But it's still fun, and everybody wins. It's pretty cool. I mean, everybody should try it next year. It's again, next year you can it's Art64 in Wauwatosa, and the website again is Art64Tosa TOSA.com. Yeah, the granulating colors are pretty good, and I'm spilling here and there and here and there, and they're a little bit more granular, not quite as granular as I thought they would be. Like have a little, like where you can actually see some of the real fine. I'm not sure. I have to try it again by itself, and not. I have to see, because maybe there's a different way of using it too that I'm not doing right. I'm using a lot of water, and maybe it's just going, all the granules like going into the paper. Let's get a little bit more orangey yellow down here for these grasses, and they'll be darker. And you notice how I'm going from left to right. This is my middle tones. These are not my darks yet. These are my middle tones with some darks in them, but not my darkest darks. I'm just kind of going across and trying to get from this side to that side in a big wash, in a big way, where the washes kind of blend together, using some of this granular stuff. I'm gonna use this orange here. It's a little light on the edge here. Again, if anybody's new and they don't be afraid to ask questions. That's why I'm here, to answer your questions, and hopefully you learn something. That's why I'm here. I'm hoping to teach you guys, something. Hopefully there's something that you learn from each one of these. I can't believe how many years I've been doing this now, and I've got over 500 something videos now. I noticed, because like I said, I was checking out some of the, normally don't check too much of the things that are happening on YouTube, but I was checking it today, and I noticed that how many videos I have, and all the different things about it, and how many viewers. I am up to 4,000 something, getting close to 5,000 followers or subscribers, which makes me really happy. So now we're going to go in here and just get, this is the shadow part, and then this, I want a little bit softer, right? So I'm just going to wipe a brush against it, a wet brush against the top here, bring it down. The granular pigment, boy, you really use it quickly. But then again, I only put a little bit out, so I got to put a whole tube out one time and just see, and really put a lot in. I don't think I'm putting enough in to get the really effect of the granulation. I see a little bit, but it's very small granulars. Yeah, but here you can see, as you can see, a lot of granules in there, and here too, but they're a lot smaller than I had anticipated. Not bad though. I'm just happy that they're making them now. So let's get a little more of this dark in here. Little alizarin in here. And then again, look at my value pattern. It's pretty dark here, and it's not as dark as my value pattern. Of course, I'm not going to use black, but I want to get these darker than the light, the little light parts. This is the light, the top of the car is light, this, and then a little bit of light coming through here. So that, it doesn't have to be dark, but everything that's in the dark now here, if that's the darkest it's going to be, then these have to be nice and light, and have to be definitely separate from the darks, which are the colored parts of the truck. So then the running board right here is a small little running board, it has a little light. There's negative painting, maybe a little bit of light in the grass here, and then the rest of this is going to be dark, a little bit darker. There's going to be some here, and I really should get darker. Let's go a little bit darker right now. Let's go in there and get some greenish Wish I had some more of this color here. That was pretty nice. And I had asked Holbein about the Chronicum Gold, and they have plenty. They said they're not running out, so get it from Holbein because they had no problem. I asked them at Pace, and I said, hey, what's with this? Nobody has Chronicum Gold anymore. Either they must have gotten a different kind of color that's close to it or something, but they're not worried about it because they still have their granule, or they still have their Quinacridone Gold just like they always did. And that's right here. That's what made my green right here, but they still have it. So order from them because they say they're not going to run out anytime soon. So I'm not worried about it now. They must have maybe reformulated a different, maybe it was different color that they were using from the get-go. But he didn't know I was talking about it. He goes, what? No, it's not in Holbein. All right, so now see how nice and dark that is? And so let me get a little bit more of that. That's kind of nice color. Look at that. That's beautiful in there. So let me just put a little bit of that in here. And I'm going to, this is dried now, so I'm going to wait for that. It's just slightly wet, so let me go down here and put some light color and then right away dark. So let's make a nice orangey color here, which is the light. And then the grasses below, I want to do a little bit darker than they are. And as you notice, also my drawing, it took down a little bit farther than the picture because the picture was more horizontal and kind of squished together. So my 11 by 14 is a little bit wider and not as long. And so I just made more, I just drew in more grasses. And that would be fine. You know, that's fine to do that. Let's get a look at this nice dark in here. Let's put that down here. Oh yeah. And let the light shine through here. I like shiny light. I like the lighting to be very dramatic. And then of course I'm going to spatter too. You know, me and spatter. I love to spatter. Now I don't want it straight across like this, so I'm going to bring it up here a little bit, here and there. And these are not my darks. These are not my detailed darks or my large dark areas. These are my middle tones and my lights together. So the dark details come next, and they're going to be, you know, showing things then. I'm going to spatter some orange. Did you use the granular paints, the earlier painting? No, I didn't. And as you can see, look at the difference between colors, between the granular stuff and this. I mean, the color even is, I just didn't use that bright colors. Now these are only in the 5mm tubes, so I wonder if they're going to do the big tubes. I sure hope so. I mean, I go through this paint really quickly. Now the front end, see how now I'm getting, I want this as dark, so I'm going back and getting my darks now. So let's go inside here into the car, truck. Keep on calling it a car. So now let's go into the truck and just get some darks in there. And it looks like it starts here. Goes around. Now when you're looking through glass, it has a little bit of a haze on this on this window, so you can make it a little bit lighter than when it's open, then you can make it crisper. So the darks inside are going to be less vibrant or less contrasty than when they're right over here, which will be almost black. Let's use it really so that it looks really clean, like there's no, I mean, this window I'm sure is not clean on an old truck like this. So make it kind of blurry, float a little bit of this granulation color in there. I'm going to take that little blue, look at that, just granular, just lay it into the water. Do the bottom part here a little bit. And this is the middle of the windshield, so I'm going to take that off later. This is the front. Lines here, and then over here now, so that's a nice color in there. It's kind of muted back a little bit. Now watch this. I'm going to take solid Prussian blue, some black, some peach black, make it really dark, some permanent violet. I'm going to take it really dark. I always like to take a little bit of black because I know then it's going to be really dark. And then I just color my black with purples and blues and maybe some alizarin crimson. I'm just going in here now. Watch how dark this is going to be. So it'll look like the window's open and I get the contrast, right? So the window is open over here. And I put a mirror right here. It's not in the picture, but old trucks have to have nice old mirrors on the side there. Okay, I have a taste. Cheers, everybody. Hey, Judy. Yeah, go and paint it. Let us see. And when you guys paint these trucks, please post them. Post them on my Facebook page. We'd love to see them. I love seeing what you guys do after I do one like that. It makes me happy when I see you guys are doing something, and that's awesome. So there's the back window. So see how that's how crisp, and this is like looks like glass, right? Because it's like a sheen over it, and so it'll be a little bit lighter. And I can put that front, there's a little front line there, and I'll put that in later. But that's, I always try to do the big stuff first. And so the back bed of the truck, I'm going to put that a little dark and maybe make that warm. Because this truck is kind of rusty red, and so I want to kind of make it in that red tones. But it's kind of rusty and old and has all many different colors on it, so I don't need to make it just exactly one color. All right, now this building back here, I might as well get that in there now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these dark colors. I'm going to first do the overhang. And this will give me my dark that's like this over on this area. And I'm just going to take the edge of this. And then it goes down the side here. This part can stay like that. That can be just the side. That's in the light. And then I'm just going to go across the front of the rooftop here. And then there's negative painting the posts. So I'm just taking this dark, same color I just used inside here. It's watered down a little bit, and I always use the same colors in my palette that I've used for other parts because I know they'll work. It doesn't have to be actually that color, but I know if I have a color here, it'll work over here too. So I always just dig into my palette, and whatever I have available right at the moment, let's use it. You know, that's how come we have these great palettes that you can just pick up this paint and don't throw that away either. Don't wash it and clean it. Those colors work great for a long time. Here's a window in here, so I'm just going to do like 4 little rectangles. Here's the side of the barn door. A little bit of top. Break it up a little bit. Here's a post. I can make this a little bit so simple, you know, easy, fast. A little dark over here. And it doesn't have to be real clean because I'm sure that farm is not super clean. It's good. It's got rusty rooftop. I'm going to take my brush across it quickly. I'm going to take like this brush and just kind of wisp it across here because there's a little, I go on an angle because it's the angle is this angle right there. I'm just going to take that and just do a little bit of angle there just to make it look. And then this angle here is like this angle. It's a little bit less of an angle. So I'm just going to take it across like this. Now the front of the truck. So see how we're working forward, and this seems to be not quite dark enough for me, but I'm gonna leave it. We'll see, because we don't want to bring our eye too much over here. But I did take some water dots in there because of my sloppiness. But that may be okay. I may go back in here, and I got to darken some of these windows back there anyways because it wouldn't be that light back there. But I gotta wait till that dries. And so now let's go to our front of our car again. The front of the car, and it looks like there's a stripe down the middle. Stripe down the middle here, and then it's going to get really dark right there. And then we have some light blue going across there. There's these little, let's put those in right away. I know we're going our darks, but we can just, since I'm right here, I might as well put these little dark, what is it called? A grill, like maybe a grill. Let some air into the engine. And then this is all dark. Let's go to the bigger darks. I always try to find the bigger darks. I don't try to go small to bigger darks. I try to do the biggest ones I possibly can find first. And that would be in the wheel well here. And again, that's really dark. So look at what I'm doing. I'm Prussian blue, black, purple, a brown, a Mislone brown, maybe a little bit granular color. Lots of paint, and it's not so thick like gouache, but it's thicker than normal. So I'm keeping it thick enough. And this is the tire. Let's make that kind of grayish, and so I'm gonna use some. I like to make my gray. I just go into lavender, basically. Go into lavender and just kind of, it gives me a bluish, purpley gray. And if I'm putting it on yellow, it's just definitely, or orange, it's definitely going to turn brown. So I'm just going to put the little wheel there. And there's going to be a lot of grasses I'm going to put into that. I'm going to scratch some grasses into that, I think. With the back of my brush, I can just scratch some. Grasses in there. Now the whole front grille and the whole front of the car is a lot darker than I have it. And I gotta get a little bit more of this red here on the edge. And I didn't do this really wet right there because I want a little texture. So if you don't want a lot, if you want a lot of texture, don't make it wet, because wet makes it float, and floating makes it a soft edge, right? So if you want to have it dry and a lot of texture, just put it on dry paper and then take your brush across it quickly, because then you'll pick up texture from the paper. All right, so this is really dark underneath here. Top of the grill though is really light, and so I'm going to come down around this side, and I'm going to do the car a little bit darker here. I'm just going to make all of this a little bit darker. And this is not the darkest dark, not the detail dark. This is just the area is a little bit darker right here. And then I'll put in the black later, the really dark darks, the detail darks I put in afterwards. The front of this fender gets pretty dark, and so I'm going to take some alizarin and some of this, and I'm just going to, so it goes a little bit over the top here, comes down, and this gets really dark right there. And then it stops where this light of the grasses are, so I got to negative paint the grasses. And I put water in because that's a little bit too thick. Again, you can always put water in to make it, again, water makes it soft edged. Hard edges, you use a lot of paint in your brush, and it's almost like you're painting gouache, like you're painting oils, but you're not. You still put water in there, and it'll be nice. Cheers, guys. It's so hot in my studio right now. It's unbelievable how hot it is. Actually, let's put this camera on me a little bit over here. There we go. I'm doing the front of the truck and so not seeing it. Okay, now we're going to go over here. Let's take a little bit of more of the green, the dark green. And kind of put it in here. A bit of red, and it's just soft edges, and so I'm trying to make this out of focus. I don't want any too much detail here, but I do want it darker, and I want you to come over this way and have the little light pattern here. So this doesn't have to be any exact thing. It doesn't have to be a certain kind of grass or anything. It just has to be out of focus dark. I want an out of focus dark, and our mind will automatically say what that is. We don't have to explain everything in a painting. You can keep it soft edged and out of focus, and that's what people are going to know, that it's grass, right? What else would the car be in front of? You know, if it's not a big rock because it's soft and it's just dark, and there's these little lines that look like, you know, like they're grasses. So I'm going to use my little, what do you call these, striper brushes or dagger brushes, and I'm just going to make some little grasses, just kind of going in here. And now I've used up all my new granular paints, but this brush is kind of cool because it just does really things when you kind of go back and forth like this. Makes it look very grassy and very weedy. Like, it's called a dagger brush, and this is a Holbein Gold, which is a hard one to get a hold of, but to make other versions, other companies make dagger brushes. I don't know where to tell you to get these. It's I was going to try to sell them one time, but I just don't have the option of doing that yet. Let's get a little bit darker down here. Get some of this purple in here. and red. Let's come down here really dark. And now I can see some of the granulation happening from that paint. And if I feel that I went too dark with areas, then I'll go back in and I'll rub some of it out. And I can always put gouache back on top of it too, but I won't need to. But you can just rub it out, like watch this. And just rub out little areas. If I feel like it needs to be a little bit lighter in certain areas, I'll just take a thirsty brush and dip back in here. And then again, I'm going to spatter, like always. I love to spatter, so let's do our big spattering. I like spattering with the big brush. So let's spatter, and let's get some light colors in there. I'd like to tap it. It's great for rust. See how it gives me those nice little lines in there, and it's going to look great. The front of the truck is not quite dark enough up here, so let me get a little bit darker up here. There's a little emblem right there. We can go, and that's a soft edge on top. Let's make it a little bit softer around the emblem. Kind of went into the emblem right there. And again, I can also go back in there with gouache or a thicker watercolor to get that look too. Now let's go in here and take on this light blue. I do like this light blue, that this granular color is pretty nice. What time is it? I didn't even look for time. Now I'm doing details, right? Now we're getting in there, little details. Edge of the, this is the edge of the mirror. Give a little mark going into it. Door handle. Let's go really dark now. Really dark. Black, solid jet black. Peach black, purple, blue. Look how dark that is. I got to go now and just really get some really dark colors to force some things to go into the distance, back, behind things. That's too big a brush to do my details, so I'm going to take my number 8 round. Number 8 round with my really dark colors, and I'm just going to go in here now and get all my dark details, like the windshield wipers. And they'll have some light in it too. And here we get nice, super dark crevices. I call these dark highlights because they're crevices, and they just make things look real. And you get little crevices of basically what it is. And so down here is a nice dark, and it's still wet in some spots here. So the lines on the door, like even this little line on the door, it just makes things start to look real. You get to a point where you got everything kind of coming together, but then you got to make it look real. It's got to be what it is that you see. And here, this emblem, I make it really like whatever that is. I'll go in there and kind of make it really, especially the grill. The grill now, I can go in here and look at this. I'll make the lines in the grill. And then I'll get a little bit darker and a little bit lighter on top here. And it bends forward a little bit, and so, and this is where the like the gouache, if you schedule and figure it out, do not use like masking fluid, and you want to use gouache instead. If you don't use masking fluid, you can use gouache, but most people like to use the masking fluid to make it look good. But I've come to like the gouache, and I don't mind the gouache look, like a gouache white to make your whites come back and stuff. And hey, from Norway. Hey, Marianne. How's the weather in Norway? Here it's hot. Now here is a nice dark. There's these beautiful darks. Look at this. There's these little lines on a car. All these little crevices and all the little, where it goes real deep into the car. You know, you get these little things, and there's this little round horn right here, and then we'll also take this down into the more into the grasses, so they'll meld with the grasses. And you don't want to make it too detailed. You want it to be blurry, and so you don't show everything. You kind of let it just be blurry. Blurry is a good thing. Photographers use it all the time. That doesn't mean us painters can't use the same thing. We can make things blurry. out of focus, and we just make them soft edged. Out of focus, soft edged. Let's put little grasses in here. And you can scrape out too. That's another thing. You can scrape out. Make this a little bit darker. And see how I did this on dry paper? And now I get texture. And again, you can get texture if you want or not. It's up to you how you want to get your texture. It's cold? Oh, okay. You must be up in the mountains. All right, so here we get a little bit of the... Again, let's take our flat brush. Get some of the... I think the only thing I've left is anything that may be going to be lighter than a dark, and that I have to use with a thick amount of paint, like a light paint on top of a dark paint, which is considered opaque watercolor, which means that it's gouache. And let me do a few more blues into this rooftop here. All right. And also, it doesn't matter where you live, you can vote for me at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Tomorrow at 7 is when you vote for me on art64tosa.com. Nothing's there yet. You can't sign up for anything yet. I think it's all tomorrow. I do the painting from 5 to 6. And oh, by the way, I will be broadcasting that painting on my YouTube channel. I'm just going to take my phone with, and I figure, hey, I'm just going to turn on the phone when I go to paint it. I probably won't be talking as much as I normally do like on here, but maybe, you never know. It helps me sometimes to talk and do something at the same time. So I will be broadcasting it live. I figure, hey, it's all about social media, this whole event. And so I might as well just broadcast it out there. And hopefully I have enough Wi-Fi to do that. And if I don't, well, then you won't see it. But I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try to see how that works. They're allowing it. They don't, you know, they just want to promote Wauwatosa. So whatever they want, that's fine. So now I'm gonna take white. How much time? I have plenty of time. Hey, Allison from Pace. So now let's take our opaques. See, I'm going to take, I don't have my gouache here today, but you can use watercolor thick too. It's not like it's, that's what, you know, opaque watercolor is. It's a thick paint. It has a little bit of white in it, so I'm using white watercolor. And I'm going to spatter some white. Take my round brush. Spatter some white with orange in it, and that makes it kind of opaque. It doesn't have the same, filler. But it still is opaque because I'm using white. Just going to put a little bit of that in there. A few little marks there. I just feel it looks cool to, and I said I was going to mark down these windows here because these windows are a little bit dark. The windows are going to be dirty, right? And so you don't want to make them too bright. So especially back here and inside here. And that way you can also go around the mirror here. Make that a little bit darker in there. And there's going to be little bright marks on cars. There's going to be a lot of little shiny, anything that's shiny and wet, or like the glass and certain things in the front here. They're going to have little marks of light because it's shiny, like a chrome. You can do chrome, and I'm going to get myself a little bit of white here. And just highlight a few little dots, and like the mirror can have a few little dots on it. Even the metal itself, sometimes if it's a shiny spot that got worn out, the door handle can have a little bit of light. Even the tire, if it's wet, maybe right here, we just do a little. And yes, this is not traditional transparent watercolor, but this is also not doing it like gouache way. This is not gouache. This is watercolor, just using it thicker. And like I said, you could do that with masking fluid, and that's your right. You can do it any way you want. But it's still a watercolor technique I'm using. I'm just using it a little bit thick at the end here. Some artists use, white. Some artists use masking fluid. Some artists scratch it. You are the artist. You decide on what you want to do. Learn how to do it all. Learn how to do wet into wet, wet on dry, wet in, wet with thick paint, wet with thin paint. The more you know, then you kind of create your own styles, and that's what you want. You want your own style anyways, that you do it your way. Oh, underneath the truck, I'm going to do, watch this. This is going to be fun. This is the last of it. And that will be done, but we'll be done early. I'm practicing up so I can get this thing done in an hour, because the first two rounds are 16 by 20 canvases. I'm going to use paper. They're allowing paper, and so I'm going to use paper, 16 by 20 paper. It has to be blank, and then you just get going, and you got 1 hour. And so I'm going to use paper the first round, and it's 16 by 20. The last round, the third round, which is the last round, if you get that far, will be 24 by 36, and that's a big painting. And so I'm going to have to practice on trying to get that done, because that is a huge painting. I'm definitely going to have to use bigger brushes and get in there right away with a lot of paint. I'm also going to bring my wax, and so I can just wax it right away when I'm done. All right, I think a little bit more textury than the one before. Actually, it's still too much white on the top, so I think I'm going to do a little bit less of the light. Actually, it needs some more sparkle of like flowers there or something. Like little into the dark. So I'm going to take a little bit of orange and white and put little dots here of like tops of weeds. And that's what I like about the gouache part of this, is doing on top of light. I like that look. It looks just as good, like I said, it does look good with masking fluid too. And again, your choice. Your choice, whatever you want to do. All right, a little bit more texture in the darks here. Into the car. I don't want so much light. A bit more red. Look at, there's 2 white stripes right down the car here too, which I didn't plan for. I could wipe them out too. You can wipe them out. Just gonna put white paint there. All right. I think I'm gonna take a one last wash of red over the truck itself. And this is going to be wet into wet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take really watery wet red. See, it's really wet, a lot of water. I'm just going to lay it some red over the top of some of this. And it's going to be transparent, and so I just want to put a coat of red to make the car look more, it doesn't seem all that red, this car. I want it to be more of a red truck. And so it's just transparent wash I'm going to put over this area. And if you do it slowly and just let it, it'll still be transparent, and it'll show through, and it's just a wash, and it'll still look very fresh and clean as long as you lay it down, not too much agitating. Don't agitate it too much. Just let it float. Let it float on top of the surface. It will pick up some of the surface underneath. It has to be pretty wet though. The wetness makes it so that it makes a soft edge basically. See, just a little bit of that. It makes it a little bit, to me, it makes it a little bit more red and everything. Kind of holds it together, the truck, then, to me. I think that just is a little bit nicer. here. I have to step away a little early, but I will be at Art 64 and we'll stop by your table to see. All right, thanks, Pat. I'll say hello when you're there. Definitely say hello. Well, nice to meet you. All right, what do we have to do? There's one more thing. It seems like this is really weird over here. Let's put some red over there. Let's spatter some red over here. Get our eye over this way. Now it's reflecting light for some reason. Why is it reflecting light there? I'm going to wash that away a little bit so it's, again, out of focus a little bit. A little bit darker, and then we're done. I don't want to overdo it. Oh, I know what I gotta do. That's gonna be lighter all the way down, right? That's one of our lights. So watch this. And take it and rub it down. Rub it down a little bit. Take it out. Put it back a little bit. Out of focus. And there you have it. I can't think of any more. Otherwise, I'm going to start overworking this thing. It would be neat to put a sign on the door, wouldn't it? I have to think about that. Put a little bit of spatter in there. A little spatter on the door. All right, done. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for stopping by, and look for my look for my name, number 31, tomorrow. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is when you want to go online. Wherever you're at, you can do it on your phone. They're going to probably have a QR code on the website itself too. And if you don't mind, if you don't have time, that's okay. We're all winners there. I mean, we all get something. That's the nice thing about this R64. It's really cool. And so I'm going to have fun, and it'd be neat to show you what I do. All right. So until tomorrow or Sunday, actually I'm going to try to do something on Sunday, though it may be hard because Sunday morning, depends on if it's raining this weekend, then I have to be there early and do the makeup for this Art64. I'll be on Sunday, and I'll be up at Dillman's next week. So next week is Dillman's. I'll be up north, and I'm not sure if I can do a Sunday if I'm traveling all the way up to Dillman's.